I don't think they're looking at AEW as a threat at all. I could be wrong, bro. I don't have any inside information or anything. I'm just looking at the landscape, and I don't think AEW is a pimple on the WWE's butt, bro.
Man, yes.
It's that time again, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. A better time. What a better time than now, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It is time once again for the Wrestling Outlaws. We are here to give you a good time, a better time.
The best time.
The best time. Better than the best time, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with a combined 4 world championship reigns. 3 of them with the man in the middle, the Shadow Stevens of this show, if you will. Hollywood Squares, EC3, 3-time World Heavyweight Champion, 2-time TNA Champion, 1-time NWA Champion, and followed by none other than the head writer previously of WWE and TNA, and
all of his title runs.
Yes, indeed.
He wrote them all.
He did. He wrote his own title run, ladies and gentlemen. You want to talk about someone with the pen of steel? It is Vince Russo, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion and undefeated against Ric Flair, ladies and gentlemen. Not one title loss.
You think you know all the wrestling stories? There's more you haven't heard yet. Join us on Backstage Pass.
I got a quick pop culture question. Papa B. Without thinking about it, don't think about it too much, but I'm going to ask you the question first thing that pops in your mind. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Saturday Night Fever.
That's a good movie. Did Travolta direct that?
No,
right? That's when he broke out on the scene.
Yeah.
So, like, when I mentioned, you wrote your title reign, I mean, the fans demanded it. Let's be honest. You're giving the fans what they wanted. But, like, I'm writing the Exodus show today, and, like, every time I do these things, even with, like, CYN, I'm reminded of the movie Braveheart, and I'm like Mel Gibson.
You love that movie, man.
It's the best. But, like, the first off, the dude just wanted to direct, but they wouldn't make the movie unless he starred in it because he's a huge movie star. But he's just like, I want to tell this story the right way. Fine, I'll star in it. Of course, killed it. Best director, best picture, best score ever. But like, he wrote it with Randall Wallace, I believe, directed it, starred in it, produced it, and I mean, like, what a labor of love for one man.
I mean, come on, Jeff Jarrett wrote his TNA World Heavyweight Championship run. Vince McMahon wrote his WWE and ECW Championship run. Vern Gagne wrote all of his AWA runs. Why not Vince Russo fit right in with his predecessors, man?
Vince McMahon wrote his, right?
Bro, did you see Mel Gibson on Rogan?
I did. It was very.
Bro, what a smart freaking guy, man.
I like how red he is because he's openly like, I'm not that smart. Like, my dad's a super genius, but everything he said he's accumulated was through reading.
Yeah.
There's that book he talked about, The Frontier, that I want to check out. But I just started watching, what is it, Primeval America or something? Peter Berg's new thing on Netflix. And it's pretty dope. There's still 2 episodes, but
yeah,
heavy.
Yes,
American Primeval, I believe.
Nice. EC3 and I have done some cool book exchange texts and things like that. And man.
I'm so bad. ADD dogs.
I'll tell you, my thing since last year has been audiobooks while working out. It's really cool.
I too have done that, and I have done like podcasts because but I felt like I was trying to overwhelm myself with knowledge, like I'm making up for lost time. And then over this year, like I read stuff or listen to stuff, and it kind of like whether it's news of the day or history, and like it kind of makes it mad. And then I had to go back to listening to music because I can feel the flow and like I can get into it a little more. And I'm not afraid to dance anymore. It's like I'm not the guy I suck at dancing, but I'm not afraid to feel the flow of the music, and it helps keep you in the zone. So
Trump sucks at dancing too, but that doesn't mean he can't make
it
something.
doesn't mean he didn't meme himself into the history books. 2-time.
Come on, do the Trump dance, Vince. We did it before. Come on, EC3. That doesn't mean that he can't make something popular. A lot of these fad dances over the past 30 years have been just, I mean, they're simple and bad. But
what a baffling timeline we're in.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Speaking of baffling, let's talk about our first subject for today, and that is Saturday night's main event. From the looks of it, WWE is running Saturday night's main event on the same days as AEW's two biggest shows, Double or Nothing, as well as All In. Is this a coincidence, Vince, or does WWE see AEW as competition?
No, it's a coincidence. Let me hop in real fast.
Go ahead.
I'm setting up my summer dates for NWA. I see what's going on. Setting up the dates for big old NWA Exodus, and I wanted May 24th. Why? Because my godson and my little cousin and my godfather, my uncle, my dad's going to be in town, my dad's buddies, and I wanted to make a show called The Boys Are Back in Town.
Nice.
Great
Tin
song.
Lizzy, right?
Yeah, and then we're going to see AC/DC that week, but now I'm going to have to move it to the 31st, knowing I'm going to go against two gigantic shows. Go ahead.
Smart call, though. I mean, you know that. I mean, I know that it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's like you got to be wise with understanding the conglomerate that is WWE. So
they're a monster.
Indeed. What do you think? What do you think, Vince? Coincidence or?
I think it, bro. I don't think they're looking at AEW as a threat at all. I could be wrong, bro. I don't have any inside information or anything. I'm just looking at the landscape, and I don't think AEW is a pimple on the WWE's butt, bro.
Yeah, I mean, with the continued, downfall of their overall base, do you think it's one of those things that WWE just wants to flex their muscles and just basically feel like they just want to do that squeeze of the pimp? When you have the blackhead, and you just want to squeeze it and just see the white goo come out just for fun. Do you think they're just doing that?
I mean, Chris, they're booking those buildings so far in advance, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're booking them the week of. I mean, those buildings are, booked months and months and months in advance, bro.
So do you think AEW should look at WWE's schedule at this point?
Yes. They should. Absolutely, they should. Yes.
What do you think, AC3? Should they look at their schedule?
First off, I was shocked to learn I thought you were a psychologist, but you're a dermatologist after all. Pimp and popper.
Negative. I give therapy to the people who squeeze the goo.
Squeeze the goo. Ooh.
Yeah, the whitehead, when you squeeze the whitehead and it's ready to pop and the goo comes out. Yeah.
I could see. I agree with Vince in this aspect where I don't think it's unintentional, but it's probably a flex in a sense where they're putting together the schedule and then, let's do the 24th, let's do the 11th. And someone goes, I think AEW is running that day. And they go, so? And that's it.
But it wouldn't be the other way around, though, right? Like AEW wouldn't say, "Oh, we want a show," and then WWE's running something. They wouldn't
do. They're stupid, bro.
When TNA did that,
yeah.
The head-to-head. I mean, where were you at EC3 during the head-to-head days?
Where was
it? It was like 2 months. I think it was like 6 weeks.
I feel like I was at my childhood home. I just remember the red cage and brother hung up there forever. And dude, going onto live TV, and it just seems snake bitten from the beginning. And there's so many things that you don't know can go wrong. I mean, WWE's so well oiled at this point where if something goes wrong, there's fail safes and backup plans out the keister meester. But I believe I was in my childhood home going, oh, this poor guy. And then he fell off, and it was just like. Then they went to break real weird. I'm like, every time you watch something that's back up to that competition, they just let you down.
Didn't they do like the band and Flair came out too, like from backstage and did a bunch of stuff? Where were you at, Vince?
I was there, bro.
Were you?
Oh my God!
What did you think about that?
I remember getting the phone call from freaking Dixie, man, and I'm like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" But Hogan and Eric had her freaking ear 100%. I got to be honest, though, bro. I really believe that Hogan and Flair, Hogan and Bischoff thought it would work. They really believed it would work.
Really?
And I was looking at finances alone. Finances alone, you cannot compete with them head to head. TNA did not have the finances alone to compete with them, bro.
It was abysmal, man.
Do you think then or even now, spoilers play a part in a ratings war too? Because I think the rush to go live was like the spoilers were always being leaked. But even when I would read spoilers, I still watched the show. I always read the SmackDown spoilers. I'm like, this show looks pretty sweet. I'm going to watch it.
Shivani spoiling Foley winning the championship brought over 400,000 people from Nitro to Raw. So spoilers definitely help in a positive way, for the WWE. So, spoilers could help. It theoretically could help in a positive way. From a standpoint of TNA too, it just depends on what they're spoiling. I think at the end of the day, if Foley, if it was different than Foley won the championship, that might not have been as impactful as bringing in almost 500,000 people. But the very fact that Foley was winning the world championship, it was weird because it was like a Rock and Austin thing, and people were wondering like, Foley? Hold on, Shivani, hold on a second, Foley for real? I was thinking that, and I was one of the 400,000 people who switched over. I remember because I was curious because Foley wasn't really in all that, and it was more of a Rock and Austin thing, and it was good to see that that crowning moment for Foley.
Can we talk about that title change, Vince? I'm curious. Maybe the backstory of that a little bit, putting it on Foley there on the tape show.
It's always, bro, that was, again, especially at that point in time, because I believe we were still losing at that time, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro,
99 round. That was really the turn of it.
Again, bro, it was all about doing the unexpected. And that's what creates must-see TV, because if you don't watch it, you're going to miss something. Chris, I was talking about that this week. I was talking about it with Mac on SmackDown. Bro, you got Chelsea Green in my chin for the 4th time. They just put the belt on Chelsea Green 2 weeks ago. My chin ain't beating Chelsea Green. So why am I watching that? They did the same thing with Bayley and Tiffany Stratton.
Wait a minute. That was weird. We both did it at the same time. That was
yeah, bro, Tiffany Stratton and Bayley. There's no story whatsoever. They're not going to take the belt off of Tiffany Stratton unless they do something absolutely shocking. They're never going to have the must-see TV feel again, bro.
Yeah, to your point, Vince, what's the last very shocking title change they did? And why does it even matter? Say, for instance, if I still think they dropped the ball by not putting the title on Jinder Mahal last year. When he went against Seth
Rollins. I remember that.
Yeah, I think they should have.
He was a good champ. He was a good champion.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they should just gave it to him, because at the end of the day, talk about a squeeze in the pimple of AEW in WWE's eyes. man, that would have been hilarious because of the Jinder and Tony Khan, back and forth. If he would have became WWE champion, Khan's his critique was Jinder didn't have like the record at the time, and Hook had a better record. You know what I mean? It was just like, huh? But the funny part of it would have been if Jinder would have won the championship. That would have been.
And I mean, and look at Jinder. Who wouldn't believe he could win the championship on any given day? Yes. Who wouldn't believe that?
100%. Yeah. Can y'all think of any other, like any moment that just was a shocking turn, a shocking title change that has happened within at least the past 5-7 years?
It wasn't a title change, but I remember my last legitimate shock, and I think I talked about it a couple times, was that Brock Goldberg return match at SummerSlam in Canada, where it was just smoked him. Like, I'm like, man, that was a shock. I was like, wow, that's the last time I think I stood out of my seat and went, whoa, man.
Yeah. Crazy part of that was 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro. That's
yeah. I can't think of it.
I don't know, bro. I don't understand why everything is so safe and by the book. You gotta throw monkey wrenches in, man.
Yeah, especially in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
I would, to Vince's point, because you're right, shocking the system, dare I say, is very important. But sometimes the shock is best built when something is so foundational and formulaic that I don't want to say it gets boring, but like predictability isn't the worst thing sometimes, because I think you need it for the shock. Because when the shock happened, I think after that it just seemed like everything was trying to be a shock. And then everybody's turning, and it's like, this guy turned. And then you knew the predictability of the turn because everyone jumped in the ring and they stopped, and then they went, so.
Yeah, but sometimes the shock, just from a psychological standpoint, a lot of times the shock is what's more impactful than the slow burn. I think the slow burn in the story is right. I think there's beauty in the slow burn. Just from a storytelling perspective, it works.
Next week, they were promoting the return of Solo Sikoa, the return of Solo Sikoa. Okay, bro. Without batting an eye, I would have Jacob Fatu turn on Solo Sikoa, man. Without batting an eye. They have to do something, bro. You can't keep beating this drum. Do something.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, considering the law of the jungle and the alpha being challenged, and the alpha just was exploited by another alpha. Like, so I think that's a very good idea.
And the pendulum, that's how a pendulum effect works with the emotional ebbs and flows, is that oftentimes the biggest heel becomes the biggest babyface. I mean, we saw that with Roman Reigns. I mean, it seemed impossible for him to get cheered, and now he's a huge babyface, and the FU Solo and all those jeers. I think that can pendulum. That's just how our minds work. That can pendulum to Solo Sikoa being a pretty solid babyface, especially with someone like a Jacob Fatu being a heel, and especially when he kept saying, "I love you, Solo." You know what I mean? Now he can say, "I hate you, Solo." You know what I mean? Like it would work there. I think that I like that idea. It's just that with a lot of the booking that we see nowadays, man, it's just, if you make some like a flash move like that, where's the longevity in that story? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think would be the case there, EC3?
I would just say, I was visiting my old friend Rick Rubin's active creative book, and one of the mentions is like, within the chaos is where you find your most creative adventures or self or something of that nature. So maybe not having a long-term plan and just doing it and seeing what happens and taking it step by step from there isn't a bad idea. They have nothing to lose. They're guaranteed billions of dollars for 5 years, you know? And if it doesn't work, pull them off TV for a month, put them back in.
Very true. People will complain if it did happen. People will complain if it didn't happen. So, I mean, might as well try it.